All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome back. So today we're doing a deep dive into the Wilderness Systems Targa 100 kayak.
Yeah.
And this deep dive is brought to you by the Motor City Paddle Club Kayak Rentals podcast.
Oh, nice.
So thanks to Melissa and Jason Berenstein for their support.
Awesome.
You can check out their website at www.motorcitypaddleclub.com.
Okay.
And maybe even rent a Targa 100 if all this talk gets you like really excited about this kayak.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
I know, I'm kind of getting excited about it, just researching all the specs and reading all the reviews.
Yeah, you and me both.
But anyway, so like let's just start from the basics here. Like, what is the Targa 100?
Well, it's a sit-on-top kayak.
Oh.
And it's really aimed at beginners and, kind of casual recreational paddlers.
Okay.
So not for like whitewater or anything crazy like that.
Right. Yeah, like just kind of like cruising around a lake or something.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, well, one thing I've heard a lot about with this kayak is that it's like super stable.
Oh, yeah.
And like when you're thinking about kayaking, especially if you're a beginner,
For sure.
like that's probably like top of mind, right? Like you don't want to tip over.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what is it about the Targa 100 that makes it so stable?
Well, it all starts with the hull design.
Okay.
So the Targa 100 has this really wide hull. It's almost like pontoon shaped.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so it's got a really wide base, and that just makes it incredibly resistant to tipping.
So it's like, is that like kind of the main thing that makes it so stable, or is there something else going on too?
Yeah, the wide hull is definitely the primary factor,
Yeah.
but it's also worth mentioning that it's a 10-foot kayak,
Okay.
which means it's not super long.
Okay.
So it's got that maneuverability, but it's still long enough to provide a good amount of stability.
I see. So it's like finding that balance between being able to like turn easily,
Right.
but also not being so short that like a little wave is going to like knock you over.
Exactly.
Yeah. So like if you were comparing it to like, I don't know, like walking a tightrope versus walking on like a balance beam. I feel like this kayak is more like the balance beam.
Yeah, I like that analogy.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it's got that wider base so you feel more secure.
Right. Awesome. Okay. So stability, like check that box.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about comfort because I've heard good things about the seating in the Targa 100.
Oh, yeah, the seating is a big plus.
Okay. Like what makes it so comfortable?
Well, Wilderness Systems, they're known for their focus on ergonomics.
Okay.
And the Targa 100, it really showcases that.
Okay.
So the seat itself is fully adjustable.
Okay.
You can adjust the backrest angle, you can adjust the seat height,
I see.
and that really allows you to customize the fit and find what's most comfortable for you.
So it's like having a good office chair.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like that ergonomic office chair versus just like a stiff wooden stool.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And that makes a huge difference, especially if you're going to be out on the water for a while.
Right. Because no one wants to be like paddling around with like a sore back.
Exactly. Yeah. Comfort is key.
And speaking of getting in and out of the kayak,
Yeah.
because I know that can be kind of like a challenge for some people, especially if they're new to kayaking.
Yeah. You'd be a little awkward.
What is it about the Targa 100 that makes that easier?
Well, the Targa 100 has this elevated open top design.
Okay.
So it's not like a traditional sit inside kayak where you're kind of down in the cockpit.
I see.
You're sitting up higher,
Okay.
and that just makes it a lot easier to get in and out.
So you're not like awkwardly like trying to squeeze your legs in there?
Yeah, they're not. Yeah, it's much more accessible.
Okay. That's good. That's good.
And, that's especially helpful for people with mobility issues.
Yeah, for sure.
Or just anyone who's, maybe a little unsteady on their feet.
Right. Okay. So comfortable seating, easy to get in and out of.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk a little bit about storage because I know that can be a factor for people too.
Yeah, definitely.
Like if you're going out for a day trip or something,
Right.
what kind of storage options does the Targa 100 have?
Well, it's not a touring kayak.
Okay.
So it doesn't have like massive hatches or anything like that.
Okay.
But it does have enough storage for a day trip.
Right.
So in the back, you've got a stern tank well,
Okay.
and that's got bungee cords so you can secure like a cooler or a dry bag.
Okay. Cool.
And then there are also some smaller compartments integrated into the cockpit.
Okay.
So you can keep like your phone keys, snacks, things like that.
I see. So it's kind of like a car, right? You got like the trunk and then you got like the little glove compartment or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. Good analogy.
Okay. Awesome.
So you've got options for both like larger items and smaller personal items.
Okay. So, you hit a submerged log or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Which I feel like inevitably happens at some point when you're kayaking.
It happens.
Like, what is this kayak made out of that can stand up to that kind of wear and tear?
So the Targa 100 is made from high-density polyethylene.
Okay.
And that's a really durable material.
Okay.
It's known for being impact resistant.
I see.
And it can handle those bumps and scrapes that you're going to encounter out on the water.
Okay, so it can take a beating.
It can, yeah.
All right, good.
It's not going to fall apart on you.
Exactly. Okay, good. So we talked about stability, comfort, storage, durability.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's talk about transport,
Mm-hmm.
because, a lot of people, they might not be, living right on the water.
Right.
They got to get this kayak from point A to point B.
For sure.
So what makes the Targa 100 easy to transport?
Well, for one thing, it's relatively lightweight,
Right.
especially compared to some of the larger touring kayaks.
Okay.
And it's also got these strategically placed carry handles.
Okay.
So, if you're by yourself, you can still lift it and maneuver it fairly easily.
So you're not like struggling to get it onto your car or anything like
Right,
that?
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's manageable for one person.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
And you can load it onto a roof rack
Hmm.
or tuck it into a truck bed
Okay.
or even use a trailer if you have one.
Awesome. Okay, so easy to transport.
Yeah.
And, that's something that I was talking to Melissa and Jason about over at Motor City Paddle Club.
Oh, yeah.
They were saying how important that is, especially for people who are renting kayaks.
Yeah, definitely.
Because if it's a pain to transport, then it's just like one more barrier to getting out on the water.
Right, exactly.
So yeah, Targa 100 definitely seems like it's designed for convenience in that respect.
It is.
Okay, awesome. All right, so we've covered stability, comfort, storage, durability, transport.
We have.
Let's talk a little bit about its intended use, because I know we touched on this earlier, but it's not a whitewater kayak.
Right.
So what kind of water is the Targa 100 best suited for?
So the Targa 100 is really designed for calm waters.
Okay.
So things like lakes, slow-moving rivers, protected bays, that sort of thing.
Okay, so like nothing too choppy or anything like
Yeah,
that?
you don't want to take it out in rough surf or anything.
Right.
It's really about enjoying a peaceful, relaxing experience on the water.
Okay, I could see that.
Yeah.
So, you mentioned like fishing and just kind of like cruising around.
Mm-hmm.
Like, are there any other activities that you think the Targa 100 would be well suited for?
Well, it's a great kayak for wildlife viewing.
Oh, okay.
Because it's so stable and quiet.
Right.
You can just kind of drift along and observe the birds and the animals.
I see.
And some people even use it for photography.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you can mount a camera on it and get some really cool shots from the water.
That's awesome.
So it's pretty versatile within its intended environment.
Okay, yeah. So it's not just about like paddling from point A to point B.
Right.
It's like you can actually like do stuff while you're out there.
Exactly. Yeah, it's about the experience.
Awesome. Okay. And, we've been talking a lot about the Targa 100 specifically.
Yeah.
But, it's made by Wilderness Systems.
Mm-hmm.
And, they're a pretty well-known brand in the kayak world.
They are.
So, like, what is their reputation for in terms of, like, quality and innovation?
Well, Wilderness Systems, they've been around for a long time.
Okay.
And they've really built a reputation for producing high-quality kayaks
All right.
that are innovative and well-designed.
I see.
They use good materials. They pay attention to detail.
Okay.
And they really stand behind their products.
So it's like you're not just buying a kayak.
Right.
You're buying, like, peace of mind.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. And, speaking of peace of mind, like, what about customer support and warranty? Like, are they good at that kind of stuff?
Yeah. Wilderness Systems, they have a really good reputation for customer support.
Okay.
And they offer a solid warranty on their kayaks.
Okay. So if something goes wrong, you're covered.
Exactly. Yeah. So you can buy with confidence.
Awesome. Okay. So I feel like we've covered a lot of ground here with the Targa 100.
Yeah. We've hit all the major points.
So just to kind of sum it up, it's a stable, comfortable kayak that's easy to transport. It's great for beginners and casual paddlers.
Definitely.
It's designed for calm waters, and it's backed by a reputable brand.
That's about right.
All right, awesome. Well, if you're listening to this and you're thinking like, man, I really want to try out the Targa 100.
Yeah.
I got to mention our sponsor one more time.
Of course.
Motor City Paddle Club Kayak Rentals Podcast.
Yeah.
You can check out their website at www.motorcitypaddleclub.com.
Great resource.
And they might just have a Targa 100 waiting for you.
They might.
So, with all that being said, with its user-friendliness and all these great features,
Yeah.
where would you take the Targa 100 on your first adventure?
That's a great question.
Like, where would you go? What would you see?
I'm not sure yet, but I'm definitely thinking about it.
Okay, good.
How about you?
I'm not sure yet, but I'm definitely thinking about it.
Okay, good.
How about you?
I'm not sure either, but it's definitely making me want to get out on the water.
Me too.
All right, well, we'll leave you with that thought as we wrap up part 1 of this deep dive.
Sounds good. But don't paddle away just yet, because we've got more to explore in part 2. So stay tuned.
See you then. All right, so welcome back to our deep dive into the Targa 100.
Yeah, picking up right where we left off.
Yeah.
Still exploring this awesome kayak.
You know, one thing that we didn't really touch on too much in the last part was versatility.
Oh, yeah.
Like what you can actually do with this kayak besides, just paddling around.
Right. Like, is it just for like casual paddling, or can you like actually use it for like fishing or?
You can definitely use it for fishing.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's one of the things I really like about it.
Okay.
Like you can outfit it with rod holders,
Oh,
and even like a crate for tackle and stuff.
so like you could really like trick it out and make it like a fishing machine.
You could, yeah, it's a great platform for that.
Awesome. Okay, cool.
So yeah, if you're into fishing, the Targa 100 can definitely handle it.
Awesome. Okay.
But even if you're not into fishing,
Yeah.
like there are other things you can do with it too.
Okay. Like what?
Well, it's great for wildlife viewing.
Okay.
Because it's so stable, you can just kind of like drift along and
Right.
observe the birds and the animals and stuff.
I see.
And some people even use it for photography.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you can mount a camera on it
Okay.
and, get some really cool shots from the water level.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's pretty versatile.
Okay. So like within its, intended use, obviously, like it's not a whitewater kayak, but like
Right.
you can still do a lot with it.
You can, yeah.
Okay. Awesome. And we keep talking about Wilderness Systems
Yeah.
and how they make this kayak, but like, what are some things that they do that set them apart from other kayak manufacturers?
Well, one of the things that I really appreciate about Wilderness Systems is their attention to detail.
Okay.
Like they really think about the ergonomics
Right.
and the comfort of the paddler.
Right.
Like for example, their Phase 3 Air Pro seating system.
Yeah. What's that all about?
Well, it's like super comfortable and
Yeah.
adjustable. It's got this breathable mesh fabric.
I see.
So you don't get all sweaty and uncomfortable.
That's good.
Yeah, and you can adjust the lumbar support
Okay.
and the height and everything.
So it's like a custom fit, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
Awesome.
And beyond the seating, they also pay attention to things like the hull design, the weight distribution,
Right.
even the placement of the carry handles.
It's like all those little things that you might not think about,
Yeah,
but they really make a difference.
they do. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, overall, I think Wilderness Systems just does a really good job of creating kayaks that are both functional and comfortable.
Awesome.
And that's something that I really appreciate as a paddler.
For sure. For sure. And, I think that kind of ties back to what we were talking about earlier with the Targa 100 being so versatile.
Yeah, definitely.
Because, if you have a kayak that's comfortable
Right.
and easy to use,
Mm-hmm.
then you're more likely to actually get out there and use it.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's what it's all about.
Right. Like it's not just about having a kayak.
Right.
It's about actually getting on the water and experiencing it.
For sure.
All right. So let's shift gears a little bit here
Okay.
and talk a little bit about the technical side of the Targa 100.
All right.
We've talked about materials and stuff like that, but like, what are some of the design features
Okay.
that contribute to its performance on the water?
Well, we talked about the hull shape a little bit earlier.
Yeah, the pontoon shape.
Yeah, the wide hull.
Right.
And, that definitely contributes to its stability.
Okay.
But it also has a pretty flat bottom,
Okay.
which helps it track well in a straight line.
I see.
And then the rocker, which is basically the curvature of the hull from front to back,
Okay.
is pretty moderate,
Okay.
which means it's a good balance between maneuverability and tracking.
Okay. So like, it's not going to be super fast, but it's not going to be super hard to turn either.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Okay,
Oh.
cool. And then the length of the kayak also plays a role.
Okay. How so?
Well, the Targa 100 is 10 feet long,
Right.
which is, on the shorter side for a kayak.
Okay.
And that makes it more maneuverable.
Okay.
But it can also make it a little bit less efficient for paddling long distances.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a trade-off.
Right.
But, for recreational paddling and shorter trips, it's not really a big deal.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So, we've talked about all these technical details,
Mm-hmm.
but, at the end of the day,
Yeah.
like, what is it really about the Targa 100 that makes it such a great kayak?
For me, it's all about the experience.
Okay.
It's about getting out on the water,
Right.
feeling the sun on your face, hearing the sounds of nature, and just disconnecting from the world for a little while.
Like a little escape.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
And the Targa 100, it just makes that experience so easy and enjoyable.
I see.
It's stable.
Right, yeah.
It's comfortable.
Easy to use.
Yeah.
And it's affordable.
Okay.
So it's really accessible to a wide range of people.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I think that's what makes it so special.
All right. Awesome. Well, as always, I got to give a shout out to our sponsor.
Of course.
Motor City Paddle Club Kayak Rentals Podcast.
Yeah.
They've been so great supporting this deep dive.
They have.
And, if you're in the Motor City area and you're looking for a Targa 100 to rent, or any other kayak for that matter,
right,
they're the place to go.
Definitely check them out.
Their website is www.motorcitypaddleclub.com.
Okay.
So definitely head over there and see what they have to offer.
Awesome.
Okay, so as we kind of wrap up this part of our deep dive, we've talked a lot about the technical aspects of the Targa 100.
We have.
But let's kind of shift back to that experience.
Okay.
That feeling of being on the water.
Yeah.
And just like connecting with nature. So I want to ask you,
if you could paddle the Targa 100 anywhere in the world, where would you go?
Wow. That's a tough one.
Like, what kind of scenery would you be surrounded by?
I don't know.
What kind of sounds would you be hearing?
I'm not sure.
It's a lot of pressure.
It is.
Okay. Well, we'll give you some time to think about that.
Okay.
But we're going to leave our listeners with that question as well.
Right.
As we head into part 3 of this deep dive.
Sounds good.
Welcome back to part 3 of our deep dive into the Targa 100.
We've covered a lot of ground.
We have, haven't we?
Yeah, stability, comfort, performance, all that good stuff.
Yeah, and I think we've established that it's a pretty awesome kayak.
It is a great kayak.
Especially for beginners and casual paddlers.
Yeah, definitely.
But, even if you're not a beginner, I think there's still a lot to appreciate about the Targa 100.
Oh, for sure.
Its simplicity, its ease of use.
Right.
Its versatility.
Yeah.
It's just a really well-rounded kayak.
It is.
So I guess my question for you is if someone is listening to this and they're thinking man, I really want to get into kayaking.
Right.
But I don't know where to start.
Okay.
What advice would you give them?
Well, I would say, first of all, don't be intimidated.
Okay.
Kayaking is a really accessible and enjoyable activity.
Right.
And there are kayaks out there like the Targa 100 that are specifically designed to make it easy for beginners.
Okay, good.
So I would say, do your research, find a kayak that fits your needs and your budget,
right,
and then just get out there and try it.
Go for it.
Yeah, rent a kayak, take a lesson. There are lots of resources available.
Okay, awesome.
To help you get started.
And, if you happen to be in the Motor City area.
Oh, yeah.
Our sponsor, Motor City Paddle Club. They're a great resource for that kind of stuff.
Definitely check them out.
They've got rentals, lessons, guided tours.
They do it all.
Yeah, they really do.
Yeah.
So definitely check out their website at www.motorcitypaddleclub.com.
Okay.
And, they might even have a Targa 100 for you to try out.
They might.
So, all right. So we've come to the end of our deep dive into the Wilderness Systems Targa 100 kayak.
Yeah, we have.
We've explored its features, its benefits, its intended use. And I think it's safe to say that it's a pretty awesome kayak.
It is.
Especially for beginners and casual paddlers.
Yeah, for sure.
So if you're looking for a stable, comfortable, and easy to use kayak,
right,
the Targa 100 is definitely worth checking out.
I agree.
All right. Well, that's all for today's episode.
Sounds good.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And happy paddling.
See you on the water.